Welcome back, my gorgeous, thriving souls. We have with us a very special guest, Miss Meryl Hayton, today. And it's going to be so fun because she's really in line with the kind of stuff we like to talk about here, which is connecting to ourselves and getting into these different ways of healing and transformation. Meryl does subconscious reprogramming, and essentially, she's looking at transforming yourself through subconscious reprogramming so that you can claim your self-worth and self-confidence. And welcome, Meryl.
Hi. Thank you
Hi.
for having me.
You are so welcome. We're happy to have you here and talk about a little bit what you do.
Yeah.
Tell us more about you and kind of how you wound up, in this line of healing and helping people heal.
Well, it's been my soul's purpose to heal my own self-judgment and the fear of other people judging me. So the inner critic voice and be able to feel comfortable and safe and confident to express myself authentically, manage my emotions, create healthier boundaries, and feel more in control of my emotions and my stress patterns and the ways that I would react to triggers, from in my outside world. And I also wanted to let go of needing to be seen, heard, validated, all that from, other people. So I knew all of this at a very, very, very young age, but I would say in my early 20s, I started to really say, okay, I don't want any of this stuff. I don't know how to get rid of it, but I'm gonna just follow that, trail. And I did, and it just led me down the path, and my life, I feel that I had to experience lots of challenges and healing in order to be able to really help people the way that I, helped myself. So, my mom was critical, and she grew up, being criticized. So she didn't know any better. And I was very expressive and emotional growing up, and I had a lot of like frustration and anger. My parents didn't know what the hell to do with me. So they just left me alone a lot.
Uh,
So I was alone to process all of my emotions.
yeah,
And that meant I was stuffing it down because I didn't know what to do with it.
right.
So now I would say for the last 6 years, I, now have a business of helping other people to do the same so that it's mainly women who I help, so that they have the best relationships, personal relationships, intimate relationships, professional relationships. That's really where um, I tend to draw people in who need help in those areas the most. Yes, they can be female entrepreneurs, but we always end up going back to their past of where and how they learned to hold back and not fully feel, like I said before, safe, comfortable, and confident to really express themselves. So, where they learned that they needed to look outside themselves for validation, where they learned or how they learned to behave in a way to try to get that. So, people pleasing, over giving, overthinking of how to do that, trying to control situations. So, a lot of head focused, mind focused thinking, which creates overwhelm and then creates a lot of anxiety. So
Yeah.
the clients who come to me usually have high anxiety. Um, they are not that in touch with their emotions. They think that they're confident, and they are in some areas, but really they come to me with, I want to have inner peace. And then I give them what they need, which is building their confidence, self trust. And from that, they have inner peace and happiness.
That makes so much sense. And it's so tangled. I mean, everything that we experience now as women, it's all related back to things that have happened within our lifetime.
Yep.
Sometimes generational things that, keep passing through. And there's a lot of that we see. And I love that you're just getting into that level where you're recognizing what it looks like first, and then getting into a deeper part of what needs are there to be met. So the external validation and all of those things, it all goes together. And part of the things that we love to talk about here too, it's synergy thrive. It's for you to thrive, but it's also for you to like let your kids see you doing that too, and to like show that way, because we weren't taught this shit. Like this shit was not like ever. It's like it wasn't even on the radar. So I think for some people maybe it was in some small way, but it just feels like we are a totally different generation that is like breaking these molds. And so yeah, we're here for all of that.
Yeah.
So tell me some of the ways that you love to have people get into those shifts and allow them to find that peace within themselves when they know they're struggling with anxiety, they're struggling with just feeling all the ways that you were just saying. How do you work with them to get into those better levels of healing?
Yeah. So I think it's easiest for me to just talk about some, real examples with my clients.
Sure.
A woman came to me on the verge of divorce, never felt supported emotionally in her relationship with her husband from the night they got married. And this was 30 plus years later now. She's working with me. And she had a lot of anxiety, a lot of trying to control situations to get her needs met. A lot of stuffing her feelings down, created a lot of anger, sadness, and resentment towards her husband. And really, what we ended up doing was going back to her past and healing the ways that she was not unconditionally loved by her parents. And that looks like we're going to get into some EFT tapping.
Perfect.
It not in this moment here, but we will. So it looks like someone comes to me and they say, I just want to have inner peace, and I don't know, I'm on the verge of divorce. I either want to be able to have the confidence to leave or fix it if possible, right? So that is their goal. And we always, every single session, they come to me. How do you feel about your goal? How do you feel about your goal? It's not like when you go to therapy. I mean, this was what most of my clients say. And my experience in therapy was, how are you feeling today? Or how are you doing today? And, and then I just, would just talk. And that's not it at all. If someone needs to talk a little bit about something, we're usually tapping, because the tapping will help them to tap right into their parasympathetic nervous system so that they keep their emotions a little calmer, so that they're not getting all activated. So we would go into their current, okay, today you're feeling anxious at, say it's an 8. Today you're feeling sadness at a 6. Today you're feeling resentment at a 9. Oh, okay. So we would go with the highest number. We would use EFT tapping to lower the number down, and we would tap with some breath work, and then we would get into some words and phrases that pertain exactly to their issue, like specifically what they are resenting. And it's usually maybe a current little event that just happened, or situation that just happened between the two of them. And then once those numbers are low, say below a 3, then I say, so is this familiar to you? Oh, yes. When is the first time that you felt this way, this resentment? Oh, right. And then we went back to maybe the night they got married. And then after we wipe that clean, Well, when's the earlier memory before that? Oh, well, there was this time in college when I blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's wipe that out. And then we keep on just digging, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we have to do this unless I need to, but I'm going at my client's pace. Every time we're clearing the emotional clutter out, I say, of their system, their wisdom has the knowing of where to take us next.
Yeah.
And we're just guided to the earlier event and guided to the earlier event. And we ended up, back in her childhood of the ways that her mom like never really let her socialize with other people. So if you're not socializing with other people, you're not learning how to create boundaries, right? You're not learning how to express yourself. You're just keeping it all in.
Right.
And she was used to being in some ways taken care of.
Yeah.
And she didn't even know what her values or beliefs were. Right.
Yeah. That takes a lot of awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after a few months of us working together, I remember she came in and she said, Meryl, you're not going to believe this, but for the first time ever, my husband said to me, I see the work that you're doing. I see that you're calmer. How you doing?
Wow.
Then maybe at the 5-month mark, they start to talk a little bit more intimately. And then after the 6-month mark, she was in a 6-month program with me. And then she took a little bit of a break, and then she did a few sessions as like just a little clean. She felt like she needed to clean up a few things.
Right.
And the first session that she came back to after about a month break or so, she's like, you're not going to believe this, but I encouraged my husband to write his own, like to journal and write his own resentment list. Never in a million years would he ever think of doing something like that. And he was completely against any sort of marriage counseling or therapy or anything like that. And by our 3rd session, he was like, okay, I'll do marriage counseling.
Wow.
So now she has incredible confidence. She's made more friends in her life. She's made better decisions. She's a retired woman, so she made better decisions for where she wanted to volunteer and, put her energy. She's let go of trying to control her relationship with her daughter. She's let go of trying to control her relationship with her husband. And now she's incredibly hopeful that, change is not just possible, but imminent.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So it's just really, really incredible. And, when I work with my clients, it's not just that we see each other for sessions. I usually do 90-minute sessions, maybe every week or every other week, depending on the client and their schedule and their needs. But they have Voxer support in between, because when they're triggered, that is where the subconscious reprogramming comes in, because we can do the healing from their past. We can help them focus on their goals for the future. We can add in law of attraction and guided meditation. But if we're not in the moment rewiring that automatic stress response, then things are not going to fully shift. And that's where the permanent healing comes in.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So powerful.
It's so powerful.
Oh my gosh.
I actually had a therapist the other day. I do a monthly mindset mastery class in this business networking group that I'm in. And there's a few therapists that come. And one of them I've known for many years. And she comes to all my tapping stuff. And she said, I just feel like I keep working on the same things over and over and over. And I said, I understand, because you're trying to do it on your own. Yeah. And you're not getting into the subconscious reprogramming, and you're not doing the healing from your past. Now, I told you in the beginning of our call that I just went through a tough breakup. Yeah. So I could tap down my anxiety about it, my anger about it, the ways that I wanted to go slash his tires or whatever. And but I wasn't giving into any of that. I was processing through the emotions, being with my emotions, the sadness and the hurt and the betrayal and all the stuff. But there were still some things that texts that I would play in my head, and ruminate about things and words and things that just kept catching and giving me that stress response reaction.
Right.
So I called a fellow practitioner and I said, I need an appointment.
Yeah.
And since then, I'm like, so much better and different. And so I do it too.
So good.
I feel I need the work too. I can't do it all by myself.
Right. Sometimes you need you need the guidance and you need that. Tell me a little bit more about the tapping. Like, how does that work? And what are I know that you're certified in EFT. What is EFT? If anybody doesn't know who happens to be listening.
Yeah. Love talking about this stuff. Okay, so EFT means Emotional Freedom Technique. It was founded by Gary Craig. He did not trademark EFT. So there's a ton of people out there that have their own ways, own certifications and all sorts of stuff that, do it their way, because he just wanted anyone and everyone to know about it. And he's still a very, very giving, generous man. And I'm a member of his, membership. He has like a membership of videos and continuing education. And I meet with a small group of women every Thursday for 90 minutes. We go over videos from his training and how we use tapping and something called optimal EFT,
okay,
which we'll talk about in our own lives. And it's fascinating work. I do a ton of continuing education because this is just my jam, I just love everything about it. So I met Dr. Kim Duramo, who was my first coach. I was looking into mind-body medicine and what that was. It was very interesting to me. And I loved energy medicine. I loved alternative health and holistic health my whole life. Even in my early 20s, I was selling magnets for health and wellness because I had a nail salon. So I had, I saw 8 or 10 clients a day for so many years. So I was like, oh, you got to put these magnets in your shoes, right? So I was doing that. So I knew that I wanted to close my salon, and I was already a yoga teacher and teaching meditation. And I was starting to teach workshops on I am enough and feeling enough and worthiness and releasing stress and self-doubt and all that. And I met Dr. Kim and took a 4-day class with her in mind body medicine. She did a lot of tapping. At first, I thought it was weird and I didn't really get it. And I was like, I don't know, it's kind of silly kind of thing. But I knew in a year, I wanted to take this 6-month coaching program that she had. So I followed everything that she did because I loved her. Mm-hmm. I loved what she was about, even though I felt a little like not sure about the tapping. Right. But then one day I was ruminating about something and said, oh, let me try this tapping thing. And it wiped out exactly like what I was ruminating about and gave me a completely new perspective and an incredible aha profound moment. And I said, oh, this is what she's been talking about. I get it now.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, I was like, who can I join? What can I listen to? What, right? And I did do the coaching program with her. I closed my salon. I did do the coaching program with her. And then I just kept working with all sorts of coaches myself, mindset coaches, business coaches, marketing coaches, all like that. And I found someone to be certified in level 1 and 2 for tapping. And I did an accreditation program. So I'm accredited through EFT International, and they use the same format that the founder, Gary Craig, does. And that was why I went that route.
Great.
And the accreditation was 8 months of one-to-one work where my mentor was reading, all of my sessions that I was doing on my clients, word for word. And I mean, editing them, picking them apart. It was very difficult. but
Wow.
life-changing for me. As far as I thought when I was going into the training, I said, oh, this is going to be slam dunk, so easy, because I got this. I already know all this stuff. And that was not that at all. And I really feel that the accreditation part should be mandatory for everybody, and it's not. And there's a huge difference when you work with someone who's accredited than not.
Right.
And a huge difference from what you see out there on YouTube and social media than working with one-to-one specifically on your thoughts, your feelings, your events, your words. Because when you're out there, on YouTube, everything is very general.
Right.
And it's kind of putting a temporary Band-Aid on your thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and not giving you, the real, true, permanent healing that can happen.
You need like the individualized process.
Yep.
Yeah.
So EFT means emotional freedom technique. It's freeing you from unwanted emotions, unwanted thoughts, unwanted stress response patterns, unwanted physical sensations, unwanted illness, chronic problems, medical problems, all sorts of stuff. I basically work with the nervous system. So nervous system stress responses. That could be pressure in your head, lots of overthinking, maybe tightness in the shoulders and the neck, tightness in the chest, so shallow breathing, heart palpitations, and maybe tenseness or gripping, right, in the body, digestive issues, sleepless nights. Those are most of the things that I hear on a regular basis.
Okay.
And then they could have, there could be a little bit of an eating disorder, I'll call it, but it might just be they have like a sugar addiction, they want to lose weight, things like that.
Okay.
And that might be just something, they don't necessarily come to me for that, but that's just something that's going on in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So just like acupuncture, most people know what acupuncture is. It is putting your needles in your Chinese energy meridian points in order to promote healing within.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same idea and concept, but we're using tapping, and I'll just show the points as I'm talking here on these points.
Okay.
There's rib points and there's some finger points that I do a lot as well. But that was just the basic recipe of what I showed. And it taps on the 12 main ends of the Chinese energy meridian points.
Okay.
What it's doing is it's moving and shifting your energy, and it's dismantling and disrupting your emotional attachment to whatever is going on. That's why it's so important to catch you right when that behavior, that automatic behavior is happening that you don't want.
Right.
And so important that my client reaches out to me when those things are happening, right? So that we can process through that.
Yeah.
So that's basically what it is. You can tap on the points and just do a deep focused breath, which is inhaling through your nose and exhaling and blowing it out your mouth. Mm-hmm. And that can absolutely help you to quell emotions in the moment. And a lot of people think that that's all tapping is really good for, but it is not at all. Because once we do that, like I said before, I do the detective work and I ask lots of questions and where do we need to go next? And I have other techniques called to tell the story. So somebody can tell a story about this text message I received, or they have the movie technique where they can play a movie in their head of an event that happened in their past.
Right.
And I mean, I've helped someone heal from stress, from sexual trauma without knowing the details.
Wow.
Because
and that's so powerful.
Yeah. There's, a lot of people that I talk to have a lot of trauma. And so I've done continuing education and have taken trainings in EFT using EFT for trauma, ancestral healing, and inner child healing, because I wanted to have the most tools to help people to heal from their past.
Yeah.
So that you can anchor into the affirmations and law of attraction and all of that you really want for your future.
Right. I mean, there's so much that comes in when you're starting to talk about it, just because there's so many different ways that there's so much that we carry with us that is not always from us necessarily. And sometimes it's we're not aware of it. It's just ingrained in us from a small age. And so it's so powerful to hear the transformation from this work and to hear the shifts that can happen through this kind of work. You're looking at not only releasing and reprogramming, but you're also looking at the deeper connection that has tied you back in time to this place that you still experience it now. And so that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for shedding light on that. And I think that for some people, like, they don't even know that this is possible. And so I think that even having people like you and people who are just going outside the box and doing this in a totally different way and making it so transformational is really needed. So I'm so glad that you're doing this work.
Thank you. Me too.
Yeah. Would you like to show us a little bit about EFT and tell us a little bit more so that we can get a good taste of it?
Yeah. So my feeling intuitively today is to talk about uncertainty.
Okay.
And I want whoever is listening to think about one thing in their life that they're uncertain about. And we're going to just tap together on that and add some words in. So if you are above a 7 on the scale of 0 to 10, right, I want you to just create a baseline of your uncertainty. And if you're really swimming, pretty intensely, just do a round of tapping on these points and taking a deep breath in, because you can pause this, right, and do that. And then when you're at a 7 or lower, then you want to add words in. So that's really important to know, because if you're above a 7, you don't want to increase your intensity, right? This is all about lowering your intensity.
And so, you should just keep going through.
You mean if you're doing the tapping and breathing?
Mm-hmm. Go through the points in succession, or should you stay on your hand at first?
No, it would be taking one deep focused breath on each point.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, on each point.
Okay, good.
All right. And then when you're feeling a little calmer and ready to add words, then you can press play again.
Okay.
So if you would, you could repeat after me. All right. So even though I'm feeling uncertain right now.
So even though I'm feeling uncertain right now.
I'm choosing to honor how I feel.
I'm choosing to honor how I feel.
And even though I'm feeling uncertain.
And even though I'm feeling uncertain.
You don't have to answer this, but whoever's watching, about, fill in the blank.
About something.
Yep. I'm choosing to acknowledge I feel this way.
I'm choosing to acknowledge I feel this way.
And even though I'm feeling uncertain.
And even though I'm feeling uncertain.
And it's causing these physical symptoms in my body of, right?
It's causing
and then
these
fill in the blank.
Symptoms. Yeah.
It could be overthinking. It could be chaos in my mind. It could be, what I was mentioning before, tenseness, gripping, tightness, something in your belly, right? Add that in. And I'm just choosing to love and accept myself as I am.
I'm just choosing to love and accept myself as I am.
And if you don't feel that way, then don't say that. Use one of the other words that I did, like, this is just how it is right now. Or I honor how I feel, or you want to keep it exactly what your truth is. That's what will make the shifts happen faster. All right. So we did it 3 times, tapping on the outside of our hand. That's how you want to start. That's the setup statement and acceptance phrase, or balancing phrase. And then we'll go to the top of the head. Feeling uncertain. Inside the eyebrow. So you want to repeat this, right? Feeling uncertain.
Feeling uncertain.
Outside the eyes. All this uncertainty.
All this uncertainty.
Under the eyes. Uncertain.
Uncertain.
Under the nose. Feeling uncertain.
Feeling uncertain.
On the chin. Uncertain.
Uncertain.
under the collarbone. You can tap here or right in the middle if you want. Right, whatever feels right to you.
Uncertain.
Feeling uncertain. Yep. And then I am under my armpit, right next to my chest, right there. And it can be both sides if you want, or if it's hard to reach around, it can be this way. Doesn't matter. Right? Feeling uncertain.
Feeling uncertain.
And then you would pause and close your eyes and take a deep breath in. Right? And blow it out. And you would check in. What number are you at now? If nothing's shifted, then you're not on the right word, or there's something that is more intense that is gnawing at you. So that's what you need to focus on. But 9 times out of 10, the number is coming down. And then you would do another round on uncertainty. You don't have to go back to the side of the hand unless you're shifting to a different word.
Okay.
Okay. So let's just do another round, top of the head. All this uncertainty and then put in something physical that's happening, right? In my mind.
All this uncertainty in my mind.
And inside the eyebrows. Feeling this uncertainty.
Feeling this uncertainty.
And it's and fill in the blank.
And it's in my mind.
And outside the eyes. And then if it's in your mind, you can say, my mind is uncertain.
My mind is uncertain.
Play around with the words under the eyes. Getting artful and creative with it is really helpful. So this uncertainty in my mind.
Uncertainty in my mind.
And under the nose, all this uncertainty.
All this uncertainty.
And on the chin, uncertain.
Uncertain.
It's in my mind.
It's in my mind.
And under the collarbone, uncertainty in my mind.
Uncertainty in my mind.
And then under the arm, doesn't matter if you switch sides. All this uncertainty.
All this uncertainty.
And then you would pause again. Take a deep cleansing breath with your eyes closed. And then you would check in with your number and physically, what are you noticing? Usually people feel calmer, more focused, more patient, have new perspectives, realize that the uncertainty maybe is fear, worry, or doubt about the thing. And then we would switch to one of those words. And we would we would just keep going through the same process until we got the numbers down low enough to where we go to an event, which is a time when I was feeling uncertain or had this, overthinking in my mind, or this time when I had all this fear, doubt, or worry. And that's how we do the digging.
Yeah. So good. I don't know. I feel a little shifted and I don't even know how uncertain I was, but I'm feeling a little more certain. It's like you start to release a little bit. You're literally telling yourself, it's like a command almost. It's an interesting release. You feel a little bit of a shift there. I mean, I'm not even doing the full thing, so that's actually pretty impressive.
Yep.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, lots of groups, and even in my training, we all have like our stuff written down on a piece of paper, and the whole group might focus on one person. And then it's interesting how your stuff shifts.
Yeah.
Right. So even if I'm working with my clients and I'm tapping all day long, I can have my own stuff like written down. I'm not focusing on it at all, but it's interesting what happens, the perspectives that shift, and, maybe physically in my body, I might feel better or something, if I had a stomach ache or headache or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's very cool.
That is cool. And I think that, that happens a lot in group scenarios anyway, when it's like the lesson is meant for the person that's getting worked on, but it's still a lot of times a lesson for more than one person in the room.
Oh, well, so. Gary Craig, he says, we all have the same stuff. Yeah. It's just different details,
Exactly.
We all have fear, doubt, worry. We all have it.
Yeah.
Just because I do this work doesn't mean I don't have those things.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I think that's super helpful. And I think especially for anybody who hasn't seen much about what it looks like to be in a tapping session, it's like you're giving us this fly on the wall, being able to really look at what it looks like. So I think that's so helpful. And I might eliminate, there's a fear sometimes that people aren't sure what things are, and just getting into the knowing of, oh, well, that looks easy, like, or, wow, that looks like fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that just popped in that I want to share is
Sure.
some people ask me, why do we have to focus on what I don't want? I don't want to focus on my uncertainty or my fear or doubt or worry, but you have to in order for it to shift and transmute. So, and then the other thing is, because if you just focus on being positive, but really in your subconscious, what I'm talking about reprogramming, you doubt yourself, you're just going to get the same frequency and vibe and manifest from here, right? Not from what you want, right? You can think and imagine what you want all the time, but if the energy in your body, in your subconscious, is not matching that, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I do here is, I don't really want to talk about my emotions or go back to my past.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to know that the way that this work works is it gets you to a place where you will eventually feel safe and comfortable to go there. So even though you might know what's stressing you out or making you anxious today, or you understand your behaviors are not really where you want to be and things like that, and then you have trauma from your past, but you haven't really connected the dots and done the healing from your past, we always start with where you're at, right? So by the time we get to your trauma from your past, you're ready to go there.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's so important too, to be able to just walk into it and feel like you're ready for it. It's good. It's really good. A lot of shifts happen in that space. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
If anyone is listening and thinking, I definitely know that I would love to find out more about this, find you somewhere online, how do people find you?
Well, everything from my website to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Reels, all that is under my name, Meryl Hayton. I make it easy. If you go to my website, there is a pop-up box where you can sign up to receive my newsletter and keep, on top of inspirational content and what events that I have going on, and you'll get a 7-day Tapping into Worthiness freebie. For anyone who is watching me, you can email me at merylhayton@gmail.com. I also have a self-love reboot meditation that gets into the optimal EFT, which I know we didn't even talk about, which I won't go into, but it is a spiritual, non-tapping form of EFT. Using your higher power and unconditional love to promote healing within. Very powerful. And it's like a guided meditation.
Beautiful.
So that's like what the self-love reboot is like. So you can always email me and ask for self-love reboot, and I'll happy to send it to you.
Yay.
And I also have videos on YouTube. I have a blog, lots and lots and lots of information for you to see more of what I do. And I do offer free consultations that will definitely give you insight and clarity on where you're at and how to best move forward for you. And you'll definitely get some aha moments, in our, it's not a session, but with what I do, I definitely will. You'll have some breakthroughs in that. I'm getting at.
Amazing. All right, wonderful. Well, we will link all of those things right in our description for the podcast as well. And so anyone who is thinking that this sounds like something that they need, please check out Meryl and connect with her. I think I'm going to go into that self-love reboot. So that's mine. I'm going to be asking you for that. But thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for sharing all of this beautiful healing. So I love to hear about it, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
All right, guys, and just like always, I wish that you find some beauty in something small today, and we will catch you on the next episode.